Welcome to Fans Fight Back with myself, Martin Theobald, and with me, James Sunderland. How you doing, James?
Yeah, I'm all good, thank you. You well?
Yeah, I'm all good. I'm very good. I've got a week off work. I'm doing very little. And yeah, on the Pitch Boxing app with two people that just confessed we haven't watched much boxing, if any. I'm slipping into Casualville at times. That's all right.
Yeah, it's just, I think we spoke about this a few times where it's just like, there's almost too much of it at times, but it's sort of gone past that threshold now where I just can't be arsed, like keeping up with it sometimes. Like one fight that I really did want to watch was Mickinson and Ortiz, and I woke up and thought, I didn't even know that was on. Like, completely passed me by.
Yeah, it's true though, isn't it? If you've got to follow so many platforms to know what's on and when, yeah, I find myself caring about the big events and caring about the people that I know and care about and want to watch because I've got a personal investment. That stuff in the middle, the Samo Mason, Dalton Smith kind of stuff, I've kind of lost a little bit of impetus. But yeah, I still watch, I still catch the highlights kind of thing, but I don't go out of my way. If I've got Saturday night plans, I'm not changing them to watch, that standard card. But that said, there's some good stuff upcoming. Let's start with Benn Eubank, because that's the most insane of all the things upcoming. Rumored for a long time, finally happening. Were you surprised they got it over the line?
When you were first rumored, I just thought there is no chance, because to me, I just thought this makes no sense for anybody. Like, I just thought it made no sense for anybody. And then when you start hearing it more and more, that was obviously a big push behind from Matchroom and DAZN, so they must be throwing serious cash at it. And you know what it's like, it starts to get leaked, you start to see certain, reputable sources in boxing. When they reportedly tends to happen. Honestly, again, I don't even know what this makes us, because as a casual, I should be buzzing, but I have no interest in that fight. Fight week, don't get me wrong, I'm sure it'll get me, but straight off the bat, no, it just don't do anything for me. I think it just makes no. I don't see it as a competitive fight.
I'll come on to that in a sec, actually. But yeah, I have a massive interest, but I think it's purely because I grew up on their dad's fighting.
When fight week drops, and you see probably Eubank and Nigel Benn, and yeah, don't get me wrong, that it will probably get me then, but straight off the bat, and when we talk about this in the past, I think generally you've got instinct on a fight when there's no hype, when there's no, tension this far out. I think generally the judgment's there or thereabouts, and I just don't see this as a competitive fight. I do not understand how Conor Benn can win at all.
You're right. I think at the moment you can be more objective about it than you can when you're a week out from the fight. And I agree. I actually think Eubank will punch holes in him. I think Eubank will do a number on him. And the thing that tells me that most is the fact that Eubank is having to justify why he won't do that. The fact that he's saying, coming down to 157, I've not been that weight since I was 18 years old. It's really going to put me at a disadvantage. I love that press conference where he was like, yeah, it's going to make me 60%. And Conor Benn's going, no, you can't start using these excuses. He's like, it's not an excuse. I'll still beat you. Like, I can't be 100% because that'd be a public execution, and we're not allowed to do that.
I thought he played that perfectly. You could see one of them just getting wound up, and the other one just like just chilled out. But again, I think for me, I look at Eubank and I just feel he's missed the boat now. Like some of the names that he was linked with, I feel a lot of the big fights that we wanted to see him tested against in terms of some of the elite middleweights, I feel that's potentially gone now. So I'm a bit gutted in that respect. Conor Benn did carefully build his career, and then they're just going to lamb to the slaughter.
That's the bizarre one. That's for me, that's the one I don't get. Is for Eubank, it makes perfect sense. If someone's going to chuck you millions of pounds to go and beat up a welterweight, that makes sense to me. But for Benn, they've built him so carefully. They've matched him so well, albeit frustratingly for us as fans. He's kind of got more and more exciting as he's gone along. He's improved. Maybe his level of opponent hasn't. Therefore, he's absolutely battered the life out of him. to then go and do this, to me, screams of the zone cash out.
Agreed. And to me, it just looks desperate. It just looks really desperate of like they've hit the red button. You know, and the biggest thing, I think the biggest compliment I could pay to Conor Benn is when he turned over the first time he said Josh Kelly's name, I laughed and just thought, what a nutter. Are you stupid? You will get slapped up. Now I would fancy him to deal with Josh Kelly. And I think that's the biggest compliment I could pay to Conor Benn in terms of how much he's developed and how much the level I think he's at. I think he's sort of somewhere between European and British level, but he's been so carefully managed to get to that point. I don't understand slinging him in with someone that's been in. And the way I look at it, and you say, oh, you know, he's going to be weight trained, he's going to be this, he's going to be that. If George Groves can't put a dent in Eubank at 168 pounds and he is a legit banger, I don't see Conor Benn putting a dent in him.
No, we've never seen Eubank wobbled, hurt in any sense.
Yeah.
And I think if you took their peers, if you take the surnames out of it entirely and you took their peers and you said Echo Esserman for Ben, Liam Williams for Chris Eubank, who's going to win in a fight out of those two at 157? It's not even a contest. Liam Williams would batter him. And I don't mean that badly about Echo Esserman, because I like Echo, but it's not a competitive fight.
There's weight divisions for a reason, isn't there? And I think this is borderline potentially dangerous, if I'm honest, because he has got Conor Benn. You can tell he's got that. He's just so aggressive in everything he does.
He's an animal, isn't he? He's brilliant.
He's just like 0 to 100 so quick, and I just feel that he's potentially like quite dangerous. I mean, obviously, I text you, didn't I? Saying it's a bit of a lazy comparison, and I know it's been said a few times in terms of Brooke Golovkin, but there's not even a world like it's say for example he wins. What's next? Like, what do you probably come out of that damaged? Can you even make 147 again? Like, you often hear of people going up and you should never go back down, all that sort of thing. Why cash out now? That fight is going to be there and probably going to be easier for Conor Benn in 2, 3, 4 years' time. In my opinion,
I'm not sure who manages Conor Benn. I don't know. Maybe it's Sims has got something to do with it, I suspect, but I'm surprised whoever it is has said, let's do this, because it doesn't make any sense for him.
Do you think it's, in some respect, Hearn getting a return on investment?
100%. I think it's Hearn. I think it's DAZN. And I just don't get why Conor would sign the paperwork to do it and be so eager to do it.
I can see why he'd sign it. I think if you get someone on his ear, maybe weight drains, you definitely just think, he's a fighter. Of course he'll sign it, but it shouldn't get to that point for a fighter to have that decision.
Yeah, that's what I query. Who's managing him, who's advising him, should be saying to him, look, mate, if you really want to do it, go and do 154 for 12 months, 18 months, move up to light middle, let Chris get a little bit older, maybe go off and take some harder fights, and then do it. Because that fight's still massive in 2 years.
Agreed.
No, I don't understand why the rush to get to that fight outside of DAZN promised everyone Anthony Joshua. DAZN haven't got Anthony Joshua. DAZN have got this big void in their bank account where Joshua's pay-per-view figures were going to be. Therefore, they've got to fill it. But they've also, my guess would be, DAZN have probably signed up loads of people when they announced that they've got this partnership with Joshua. I bet loads of people went and signed up. Now they've got to give them something for it. So what they're going to give them is a pay-per-view. Yeah,
it's just... it's just, it is. And it is just... Because the thing is, in my opinion, I could be wrong, because again, I've sort of... Like, it seemed to come out of nowhere. I don't recall there being anyone calling for the fight. I don't recall there being any sort of like confrontation at an event where it comes out of nothing. It just... So this is what I'm saying. It's not even like it's just literally come out of nowhere, and you would think that the driving force behind that is probably somebody that's not happy with the numbers they're looking at.
Yeah, I think the only interaction where they kind of crossed paths was Eubank, Tom Duran.
I remember it. Yeah,
they had Senior and Conor Benn on the table, and they had a bit of kind of verbals there, but that wasn't even junior and Conor Benn. That was senior. And I don't know. I did enjoy the press conference. I like the fact they didn't bring the dads in for it. I think that will come in time. And, you know, you build up to it, don't you? You kind of whet the appetite. But
because the thing is, right, this is the point. They say they filmed, the gloves are off or whatever the zone calls it. Like the bank is empty, whatever. Like, like you know, like one with
down.
one with Conor Benn, one with Chris Eubank Jr., one with Nigel Benn, and one with Chris Eubank. Which would you watch?
Oh, the dads all day long.
This is what I'm saying. It's like it's just they have hit that red button, haven't they? It's
it's true. I mean, you're borderline setting up tag team boxing where you would just like let all four of them come in and out. It kind of feels like it might be that way, but no, I'm in for it. I'm 100% in for it. But
don't get me wrong, I will be at the time. But do you know anything else?
When you look at who Conor Benn's got in camp with him, so I've seen a couple of the people. Sam Gilly, who's the English light middleweight champion. A friend of mine, Sam, and Linus Udofi has been in sparring him as well. So I think they're sensible people to have around him for that camp. Linus very different in style to Eubank.
Yeah.
Albeit this new version of Eubank under Roy Jones, whether Roy Jones will be there on fight night, we don't know. But Linus is a little bit more similar to that version. But I'd have thought you'd want someone who's high intensity for short periods to replicate Eubank. Even a Liam Williams, I'd have thought that would make sense. You get Liam Williams in. But yeah, I say Eubank, I don't know who he's had in, but he was saying that he's going to concentrate his efforts upon losing weight rather than actual training.
Well, he's probably right. The thing is, Conor Benn's training for a fight. Eubank's training for a weigh-in, isn't he? Yeah. Basically, he's like... But
having heard stories out of the camp, I've heard that Conor can hit. Like, it's not that he can't hold his own power-wise in terms of being in with these lads. I think there might be question marks about his overall strength. And what I mean by that is more like when you're in a clinch and what have you, being able to move around. But from what, the stories that have come out of it is, he can hit. He's not going to be lacking in power, but we've seen Eubank be hit, as you said earlier.
And I also remember as well, and it's like anyone can go down, it doesn't matter. So when Spike O'Sullivan caught him square on a few times and like big overhand, I know this is going back a few years, but big right hands, bang on the chin, and he just off he went.
Yeah, and that was the only thing Spike O'Sullivan had going for him, really, wasn't it? It was.
My little girl's coming. Put it back on, then, darling.
She wants to know who wins.
Yeah,
she's excited.
Right. I'll turn the camera off and I'll be 1 second because she's not. So I'll be sorry about this.
That's all right. And then the other part coming out of it all, when James comes back, Stubhub have had the tickets up within minutes, maybe hours of the sellout event. Tickets up to £12,000, £14,000 for ringside tickets for the event. Stubhub is a pet hate of mine. How it's allowed to happen, certainly within that first tranche of tickets that go to O2 priority members, and then the ones that go to Matchroom Fight Pass members, where they're all logged against accounts. All the tickets are logged against names, credit card numbers, account numbers, Matchroom Fight Pass numbers, how they can then end up on resale sites where they should all be logged, and there aren't huge numbers of people at that point. It's like 1,000, 2,000. How they can then end up on StubHub and no one does fuck all about it. That winds me up ridiculously.
Yeah, I caught what you were saying there, and it's just you can't dress it up anymore, can they? And I know, like, it's just money grabbing, isn't it? It's just, I don't even know who you blame it at though, because it seems to be an industry wide thing.
It is an industry-wide thing. It happened with Fury versus White. Nobody did anything about that. Nobody ever does anything about any of it. The promoters go, oh, it's really bad practice, blah, 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 blah. And then, I'm not saying that they're directly profiting from it, but they're not doing anything to stop it. So read between whatever you like on that.
Yeah, because we don't help when you've got companies like that as part of the sponsors.
Because they're no longer, are they? It's stage front, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's just been, it's always like, we can't do anything about it. They're sponsoring your event. You can do something like this. Like,
yeah, if you have a commercial arrangement with a company that are taking your tickets and selling them for more than they're worth, like ridiculous numbers more than they're worth. Yeah, it's forever a bugbear of mine.
No, it is. Agreed.
Disgusting practice. But there we go. This weekend, one for the real casuals like you and me, AJ versus Usyk. What do you make of all the clips that have come out of Usyk looking like he's grown?
That's one way to put it, isn't it? It's yeah, that is one way to put it. I don't know. Yeah, he's always been losing 10 kg because of like the war and stuff. And then I've seen the odd picture where I've looked at him and I thought he looks like he's had been on like a big bike ride, shall we say? And then there's the odd one where I look at him and think, no, he looks how I expected him to. But one thing I will say is that hair scares the living daylights out of me. Never mind what league he's in. Not for me. Like, yeah, no, it's worth that one. But it's I don't think say he's heavy. I really don't think it matters, if I'm perfectly honest. He's not going to be dumb enough to be too heavy. And if anything, it may help him absorb a little bit if Joshua does come out swinging. But I think if Usyk is slowing down, I'd imagine he'll still have 6 rounds in him where he's going to be fleet-footed and quick enough. I'd imagine he'd slow down after 6 rounds. And unless Joshua's been on like a bike ride as well or something, then I can't imagine AJ being able to keep the pace that he would have to set over 6 rounds to slow Usyk down. I think he's been there, done it. He's seen it too long. He knows how to manage the rounds. And I don't think it really matters, to be honest, because I think you could say the same. I'd imagine AJ will probably come in slightly heavier, so will it just counteract each other? What do you think? What do you think about the whole weight situation of either man, and how do you think it'll go?
I think Usyk will know his body well enough. He's a man who's born and bred to fight, and he's fought from cruiserweight up to heavyweight. He's been kind of growing into the weight. It's only his 4th fight at heavyweight.
Yeah.
He had was it Witherspoon and then Chisora, then Joshua, and now Joshua again. He's growing into the weight. He's had time
Agreed.
to do it. As I say, he's born and bred to do this. There's no, the sideshows outside of a war going on in this country that he's kind of said, I've refocused my efforts and attention away from that into this. There is no way, I believe, that additional weight is detrimental to his performance.
No.
Because I would trust that it happened.
I would trust him and his team to think that if they have put extra weight on, it's not like they've woke up and thought, "Oh my days!" Like it's a calculated.
I'm a lot bigger than I was.
Yeah. I would imagine it's a calculated decision, maybe based on something that they felt or found out during the first AJ fight. But who wins straight up? How does it go?
Usyk points.
Yeah. Points.
Yeah.
This is the thing. If I can't see it going points either way. I think AJ gets him out within the first 4 or 5, or I think AJ blows a gasket trying to win and gets taken out. Because for me, I do not want to. And for me, I felt like his 2 losses, I feel like he's accepted defeat. Like towards the end, it was like, let's just see the round out. For me, he stopped trying to win, and Ruiz won. He didn't look too disappointed to get stopped. But this one, I think this is now all or nothing. Not the documentary, but like you can't lose, so you have to lose trying to win. And I'd be disappointed if he doesn't.
I think it goes back to what you were saying earlier, perhaps, about Usyk and his weight, is that if he's working on the premise that Joshua's game plan will be go out there and try and hurt him early, make him respect you, make him retreat, and then try and damage him from that point, is perhaps Usyk has added in that additional weight, A, to absorb, and B, to hit back a little bit harder and keep Joshua off. Joshua can't win this over 12 rounds boxing him. He can't. Whether he can win it by, as the people that kind of sit around a pub, just get on him, stick it on him early doors. Yeah. I don't think he can do that either. We go back to Eubank. We haven't seen Eubank being hit and hurt. I can't remember seeing Usyk particularly hurt by anyone.
The big thing for me with Usyk, and I know it's down at cruiserweight, I watched him v Gassiev, and I think I've said this before. He got clocked with a big left hook. Like, I think it was coming out of the clinch, and it was like almost like a catch and counter left hook, and it was a monster punch. And he just and I saw that, and I just thought, ooh.
Yeah, and I know it's back in the amateurs, but he's been in there with Joe Joyce. We've seen what Joe Joyce has been doing to people, for his pro career and his amateurs. He couldn't hurt Usyk.
If he does, so this is the thing. Say AJ does hurt him, say AJ does drop him. For me, I feel like AJ's the type of guy where if he's going to stop Usyk, it'll be barrowed punches, ref jumping in, stopped on his feet sort of syndrome. I don't see him cleaning Usyk out. I think he's too clever for that. But I also think that Usyk's too clever to get stuck in that position where, he might get caught, he might go down, but I'd back him to see the round out. I just think he's too clever. He's one of my favorite. I really want sort of AJ to win. Like, no result I would be devastated with, because I think it's good for British boxing if AJ wins. But he has to do the decider. You can't run away like from a third fight if unless it's like a 1 round demolition or whatever. But how can you not like Usyk?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to like about Usyk. But even when you go back to the whole thing about where it's going to be broadcast in the Ukraine, and
just
Usyk offered to buy the fight rights from the Saudis, so that he could broadcast it for free himself back to the Ukrainian people, so that they had something to distract them from what's going on in their country. The Saudis, because they're fundamentally decent people, gave the fight rights to Usyk. Brilliant, good on them. And so Usyk can broadcast it on his YouTube channel back to people in the Ukraine for free. So Usyk's heart is in the right place in doing that.
See, that scares me a little bit as well. His head is in the right place, isn't it? That was my concern coming into this. Is it too much of a distraction? But if you're thinking like that, if you've got any doubt, you don't put it on the YouTube channel so your country can see you get chinned if your head's not in the right place and it's a cash grab, do you? Do you know what I mean? It's like, he's a serious fella, isn't he?
Yeah, and I just think, as you say, there's a lot going on in the Ukraine. There's a lot, I'm sure, that's gone on for Usyk personally within all of that.
Yeah.
But I just think his personality type seems to be able to compartmentalize that, take everything that's going on there and package that away for a few months, train as hard as you need to do what you've got to do, and then get back to it. I feel sorry for every meets on the front line when it comes to like October time or whatever, and he's back at it in Ukraine.
It's incredible, isn't it? And for me, I fancied Usyk strong in the first fight, even with I genuinely thought he would win. I didn't see it as an upset at all. And I think you can dress up. I think there's a lot of PR going on around AJ in many respects. And I think a lot of the changes he's made and a lot of the things that have happened, I think, have been dressed up to sell it a little bit. Like, changing trainer is for the first fight is not ideal going into this. Getting them over to Sheffield, that is not ideal going into a fight. I think there's a lot of things where, and I think the first 2 to 3 rounds are going to be absolutely key. I think AJ needs a confidence booster, I think, in them first 2 to 3 rounds. Otherwise, I don't know, is he just going to revert to type? He doesn't strike me as the most, obviously it sounds like ridiculous me saying this because it's the biggest load of bollocks ever, but like, he doesn't look that comfortable in a ring sometimes if it's not going his way. He seems like he comes across as the type of character that when he gets hit, it maybe takes him around to recover. And people saying, he was, and I said to you, if you look at the end of the fight, he was gone. He had nothing left to give. So how do you get more with all the change? Because there will be question marks, and I just don't see, barring a big punch. And I think he's got a puncher's chance. I know that's mental. I do think he's got a puncher's chance. I want that. I want him to land it and I want him to win. I think it'd be incredible. But I just think Usyk is that much better at everything. And he's a big lump and he can punch. But the only person that I saw in their last fight that looked hurt was AJ. Like,
yeah,
I just don't see how he wins.
I would absolutely love to see AJ go out there and just plan for a 6-round fight.
Yeah.
Except if it goes past 6, you're in a world of trouble at that point.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Like, don't accept defeat. Like, it's me or you. Like, there's no need to judge us. One of us is getting stopped. It's me or you, and just go that way. And then, that's what I want to see.
Yeah, and then the winner goes on not to face Tyson Fury because Tyson Fury's retired. Do you believe it?
No, it's just, and I don't understand why people get so stressed and so annoyed with Fury, because you're just playing, and he's just a clown. He is the biggest weapon outside the ring, but he's also the best heavyweight on the planet. Those both things can be true. So just ignore what he says and don't give him the nibbles that he's looking for, because you know he's going to be all over it this week. He'll come out of retirement this week.
He genuinely reminds me of my children sometimes. In that my children sometimes wake up the wrong side of bed and get up and want to start annoying each other, and they'll just spend a whole day just winding the other one up. Fury just seems to have those days and go, right, I'm just going to go out and piss people off today, and he does it and he achieves it, and people still bite at it.
It just makes me laugh, because it's people. Oh, you're desperate. You're clinging on to an AJ fight week, this and that. It's clever. Like, you know, every heavyweight, you know, that wants a big fight should be chirping up this week and should be, you know, I've done this in sparring to AJ, I'll do it, and you know, all that, and just whatever. Or Usyk, you know, George Royce, it's a big week for George Royce. He should be all over social media because he's been in, you know, sparring with both and everything, and fought Usyk. But it's just clever. But it's just an absolute, like, he's just a clown. But he's the best heavyweight on the planet until he's legit retired. Yeah. So both statements can be true, and I think people forget sometimes. You can think he's an absolute tool, but you can also think he's very good.
I do think, I know Hearn comes out saying, you know, he contradicts himself more than I do, which, okay. We'll have that conversation separately, Eddie. But I do think there's some element of it that actually it brings more attention to. I know Hearn says, you know, he does it to take away the attention from the AJ fight. It makes people talk about heavyweight boxing, if nothing else. Because let's be honest, Sky haven't done a great job of promoting this fight. Hardly any at all.
You stick Fury ringside for this. It's a game changer.
That's what they ought to be doing.
Yeah. But you could have said the same. You stick AJ ringside for Fury Wilder 3. It's a game changer.
Yeah.
Just that presence around. But, you know, you could imagine, I can't imagine that would go down too well. You know, you could imagine something like that could disrupt either of them. It's probably not fair to either man. No.
But I think, all right, if you accept Fury's retired, fly Wilder out there. Fly Wilder out. Yeah. Sit him giving it bomb squad in a quiet Saudi Arabian stadium. I'm up for that. I'd still love Deontay Wilder. I don't care that he lost to Fury. I don't care that he drew with Fury, probably lost to Fury in that one. I don't care that he lost to him again. None of that bothers me. If Wilder returns tomorrow, I'm watching it.
Oh, 100%. And I think it's almost like Wilder's... This is what I'm saying. I think that first... The second Fury fight, I think you never got to truly see Wilder's heart and how big his stones are. In that third fight, you know, there's going out on your shield, and I think that's what people want to see AJ do, like win or give everything to win. Like, do not stop rolling that dice until you win.
Wilder wouldn't have lost to Usyk on points in that first fight.
Oh, he'd have got stopped or he'd have knocked him out.
Yeah, 100%. Like, it would have been one or the other. If it had got to, say, the same flow of the fight was happening by round 8, and, you know, it's probably down on the cards, Wilder's out there chucking bombs at him for 4 rounds. Like, that's what I want to see out of AJ this time round, is if it's not going well after a few rounds, caution to the wind, chuck everything.
Let's go. Yeah, let's go. It's like it's you or me, and that's I think all people want to see. But
that's why I want to see Wilder there. Wilder will just be there, bomb squadding his way through the whole fight, cheering someone on. Like his presence at that fight would be remarkable.
Yeah, no, it's but again, like Usyk, it's almost like, and this sounds daft, and I don't want to sound like a Fury sympathiser, but the only person I don't want to see Wilder in with is Fury. Not because it's a bad fight, it's just like no man deserves that 4 times. like once is enough getting hit like that. Like, not for me. Like, yeah, and that sounds. Do you know what I mean? Though, I think Wilder is legit a problem, and fighting once, don't fight him twice, because he might win, he might lose, but I wouldn't want to take like anything. Put him in 40-ounce gloves, and I would not take one of them. Do you know?
I still believe him versus Joshua sells, irrespective
Wembley
of
sells
Joshua,
out Wembley.
Irrespective of how Joshua does this weekend, if the Zone have got that longer term relationship with him in the UK, I still think that's the fight that sells. If Joshua loses Saturday,
even Dylan White, I think as long as you see that old school brawler, I'm vulnerable, but you're vulnerable, we're going to have it out of AJ. I don't necessarily think the result matters too much, if I'm perfectly honest, from AJ's selling point of view, because if AJ loses on points, let's say, and just accepts defeat, and I know I've said that a few times, but I do think he did that. I think he, towards the last couple of times, he just saw the fight out and just didn't want to get stopped. If that happens again, him and White doesn't sell. Him and Wilder doesn't appear competitive, depending on what Wilder's got left in his comeback fight. But if you see him get off the canvas, drop Usyk, just real old school brawl, maybe like Dylan White won, that sort of style of fight where he just has it. I don't care what the result is. I don't care what the result is. I'd pay to watch him be White. I'd pay to watch him be Wilder. I'd pay to watch him be Joe Joyce, Ruiz 3. These are the sort of, that undisputed, that 3-time heavyweight champion, let it go. Just be exciting.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
But you've got to give us that Saturday night and we'll see.
Yeah, because that'd almost be like because he'd gone from being this knockout artist to then trying to be undisputed. And that was the selling point. And it's like, that's gone now. If he loses, that's gone. Be that exciting fighter that knocks people out and potentially gets knocked out.
Yeah,
that's what Dylan White's made a career off it.
Yeah, being vulnerable and being fun to watch.
Yeah.
What's your final prediction?
We don't see round 12. I think stoppage somewhere 9 to 11-ish.
Usyk.
Yeah. I think he stops him.
We shall see Saturday night live. Jeddah, is it? I think. I should know. Yeah. Saudi Arabia. That's all that.
You paying for the pay-per-view as always.
Yeah, I'll be watching it.
Yeah, no.
I might go to the pub.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Right, James, pleasure. Thank you very much for your time.
No worries, mate. I'll speak to you again soon.
Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed Fans Fight Back on Pitch Boxing. We'll catch you soon. Take care.